everyone, and welcome to News and Notes for Tuesday. It is May 6th. Not a whole lot going on right now, which is to be expected, although there were a few surprise developments today. So we'll get all to all this. It's a lot on the board, but really just kind of bullet points. So all right, let's start off with the big news yesterday, which was the name reveals for two teams. A little bit more revealed and developed with Topeka than with PD. Although, remember, Topeka is starting off as an expansion franchise. PD is more or less a relocation of the HC Venom. Uh, they're going to try and really push a new identity pretty hard. Some of the players from the Venom will be brought in, I'm sure. But I think they're also going to be looking at a lot of new recruitment and whatnot, depending on the coach, who the coach is, and all that kind of stuff. So, let's talk about Topeka because that's a little bit more defined. Of course, if you look at the opening for this video, you see Topeka's logo. Not a surprise. They use this or a variant of this for the neutral site games back in January this last year when the Dashers were the Scarecrows. So this really wasn't a surprise. The color scheme is a little different. You may have noticed if you watched the presser, you saw Justin Schmidt announced as the first player signing, and expansion franchises can sign players. They're right now the only team that can do that. Um, Although an exception was made for PD, Kevin Sabad, although it was officially listed in the transactions on the Fed website that he was traded from Monroe to the Venom, and then a couple days later, it was announced PD is coming to South Carolina, and here's our first player, Kevin Sabad. All right, excuse me, Justin Schmidt sporting the black jersey, pretty slick, kind of a jet black with orange highlights, and of course the Scarecrows logo. The big hiring for coach, Robbie Nichols is back in the Fed. A lot of you remember Robbie Nichols as owner slash coach slash player for one game for the Elmira Enforcers. So there's quite an Elmira connection with Topeka. You have Robbie Nichols coming in as coach. You have Don Lewis, who has been involved in Elmira, is originally from Elmira. He was involved in Elmira sports for a number of years. John Clement, he was the play-by-play guy for the Enforcers. Now he's with Topeka. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Justin Schmidt, he played in Elmira as well. So yeah, it's kind of full circle. But anyway, yeah, Robbie Nichols is coming in, and it was announced last week when Don Lewis kind of teased things with a press conference and the signing of the head coach. That somebody that has won championships at a higher level. Yes, Robbie Nichols coached the Flint Generals of the old Colonial Hockey League, which became the United Hockey League way back when. Won a championship with Flint back then. He also he coached a number of years in the UHL and also mostly with Flint, and also had a couple of stints with the Elmira Jackals, first as a UHL team and then as an ECHL team. So, yeah, good amount of coaching experience by Robbie Nichols. His playing career, he played a number of years in the old IHL when the IHL was a big thing. Played about 120 games in the AHL as well. Um, and so, yeah. Anyway, Nichols has a lot of experience. So there we go. There is the information with Topeka. What division are they going to be in? We don't know yet. Divisional alignment has not been determined yet. That's going to take some time. It probably won't even be discussed until sometime next month. So be patient on that. All right, for PD, yes, it's the IceCats. And what was revealed today was a secondary logo. Um, I'm assuming it'll probably end up being like a shoulder patch on the jersey. The primary logo is still being developed, but they've got the name, the IceCats. They had that secondary logo they had with the claw and kind of grabbing the state of South Carolina. So they will be releasing a primary logo in the near future. We got a good idea of the color scheme, kind of a teal and silvery gray and a dark blue. Really nice look. Reminds me a lot of the Mentor Icebreakers, who owner Parker Moscow played with a number of years ago. Yeah, I'll have to check, but I think that was the first team that Moscow played for in the FPHL. I'm gonna have to double check on that though. But anyway, there we go. It was either Mentor or Columbus. Anyway, so yeah, we got our two teams named, and as far as Mississippi, a lot of people going, well, are we rebranding? Are we getting a new name? Okay, yes, there's going to be a new name. Um, for reasons that are much too complicated to really get into. But yes, they need to find a new identity. Um, it's a necessity. When that happens, we don't know. There has been no timeline set on this. I don't know. A lot of people are upset. They want the Seawolves. Unfortunately, it's not possible due to some legalities. So there will be a new identity, but it's we've got a new owner, we've got a new leadership group in the front office coming in, with the exception of one person. One person is carrying over from the front office, so just be patient for that. It will come. We just don't know when. All right. Next thing we'll talk about is today was a little bit of a surprise. I was surprised that this was announced this early and that it wasn't announced like next week sometime. But all the players, if you'll remember, back in November, there was a huge list of players listed as failed to report, and there were good reasons for a lot of those. Some players retired, some were playing elsewhere in other leagues, in some cases in other countries. So, all of those players that were suspended for the year because they failed to report, they were officially listed as released by the teams, which means they are now free agents. So, they can sign with new teams if they wish. I wouldn't be surprised if over the course of the next week or two, maybe Topeka signs a couple players. Um, we will see. But yeah, all those players, if they wish to play in the Fed, now they can do that and they can come to terms with whichever team. So there we go. Yeah, those indefinite suspensions. It's just sort of season. So, all right, so that is done. Next thing we want to talk about is the protected list. Now, all teams except for two, Carolina and Binghamton, have their protected lists already set. As I addressed a couple weeks ago, the teams are not required to post on social media, here's our protected list. That information is put up on an internal website that the Board of Governors and GMs and coaches use. But that is not something that is released publicly. Some teams will elect to post in public, here's our protected list, but you're not going to get that from the from all 10 playoff teams. All right, it's just not going to happen. So I know, we wish there was more transparency with that, but again, it's not a requirement. Um, if your team decides to do it, well, good. Now you know. But otherwise, it'll be a surprise until the expansion draft. And then, when players are chosen, you'll find out, oh, well, I guess so and so wasn't protected. Um, you're able to protect 12 players on your roster, and your roster is, depending on if you carry college and juniors, kids on your roster is anywhere from 19 to 24. So yeah, you do the math. You're only able to protect um, half or a little bit more than half. So now there's not going to be as many players selected this year in the expansion draft. All right, this is what we're looking at. All right, we're looking at 12 picks for Topeka. As an expansion team, they will get the 12 picks. PeeDee will get 2 picks. So will Mississippi and Monroe. These teams didn't make the playoffs. PeeDee being represented by the HC Venom last year, or this past year. Uh, so, yeah, it'll be 2 picks. So there you go. You do the math, it's 18 total picks. So, the worst thing that's going to happen for the playoff teams and, getting their players chosen is you will lose maybe 2 members of your team. 1, maybe 2. No more than 2. All right, all teams will only lose 2 max. So that's not bad. It's not like last year where teams were losing 5 or 6 players. So I think the league learned its lesson with expanding a little bit too quickly and not giving teams enough time to prepare for the season, um, aka the Dashers. Um, so that's what we're looking at, 18 total picks. All right. After the expansion draft happens, then there will be a dispersal draft for the Danville Dashers. The Dash. We can say Danville Dashers. It really doesn't matter at this point. But anyway, yeah, those players will be chosen. There are 19 on the roster. So the other 13 teams will pick. Some teams will get 2. Some teams will only get 1. Obviously, uh, the worse your record is, that will be the first pick, the second pick, the third pick. Binghamton's going to get the last pick. Carolina will get the second to last pick. So that's how things are going to be done with that. We don't know yet when the dispersal draft will be. Again, it'll be after the expansion draft. But when exactly, we don't know. So we don't even know the date for the expansion draft at this point, but it'll probably be towards the end of June. All right. Speaking of the end of June, that's also about the time when we will see the schedule released. The final draft is being worked on right now, or final drafts. There are a couple of internal issues that I am aware of that I'm not going to discuss right now, which may hold up the release a little bit of this, but probably end of June, at the latest early July. That's when we will see the schedule released, and then we can all ooh and and complain about it, because every year that's what happens. Everybody looks at the schedule. It comes out and they're all like, why? Yeah, I guess it's human nature. All right, last thing I'm going to touch on is, of course, this weekend we have games 3, definitely, and if necessary, games 4 and 5 in Binghamton this weekend, Friday. That game is sold out now. The tickets sold out um, at the end of the business day. So it's going to be a full house game 3. Game 4 is Saturday, 7 o'clock. Game 5, 6 o'clock, if those are necessary, if Carolina can put together a nice run and even things up. So, plenty of tickets still available for games 4 and 5. But yes, Friday is going to be a full house. A lot of anticipation with that. And there's going to be a lot of Carolina fans coming up. I'm hoping to be able to meet some of you. I hope I have that opportunity. I think most of you are going to be sitting in section 18, which is, let's see, it's in your defensive zone, going looking across, like in between the face-off circle and the goal line. So good seats. There's no bad seats there. So anyway, I hope to see some of you, meet some of you. That'd be really awesome. All right, that is it. That is all that we have for news and notes. Now, I will have a podcast on Thursday, just kind of doing a little analysis of how the series has gone so far, how we got to this point. What does Carolina need to do to turn things around? What does Binghamton need to do to try and close this out? We'll take a look at that. So that'll be on the Flash Audio Network on Thursday. All right, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Kind of paring down a little bit now as far as how often I'm doing videos and podcasts, as in the summer there's not a whole lot to talk about, so it'll be 3 or 4 days per week, and we'll go on with that. But I am taking a break after the finals. I'm taking like a 2-week break, and then we'll jump into our summer schedule. All right, thank you so much for watching and for joining me. I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Take care.